Please join me in welcoming our second speaker, my dear friend, Mr. Jide Zeitlin, a former partner at Goldman Sachs. He has a unique vantage point of also having chaired a Fortune 500 company. He is now the chairman of the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, and he shares with us some insights on how they approach their impact investment work and also how they make use of the extraordinary resource that is the Nigerian diaspora.
My sense is that there really are two different approaches in terms of how we have thought about impact investing, and particularly at NSIA. One of which is to really think through certain sectors where we believe we can have optimal or maximum impact on the community. What are some of the needs there? So, in this era of the COVID-19 pandemic, we have been particularly focused on healthcare services. We were before we had invested in setting up a number of regional clinics across the country prior to COVID, but we've really leaned into that in this time period, and by that really meaning a few things. First of all, is just setting up clinics that have access to high quality infrastructure in terms of equipment, as well as connecting a number of the physicians and the other specialists within those clinics with Nigerians around in the diaspora, so that they can, it's not just hardware, but it's also the software side of it, and really making sure that they're looking to nurture networks of relationships that can benefit those that are delivering care, in a close to the community, much closer to the community. We found that has actually been quite effective. We found that there are a number of Nigerians in the diaspora who are really happy to have to have an avenue where they can give back and they can have an impact. And there clearly is almost bottomless demand for the clinics and for the equipment, because up till now, what you see a lot of that happens, medical tourism, right, where those that can afford it leave and go to India, to the Middle East, to other geographies for their more serious healthcare needs, and those that don't have access, and they end up spending money that they don't have for often suboptimal care. So trying to really create greater access for a broader swath of the community on the healthcare side has been something we found has had a real impact on the community. And then we've then thought even in other areas such as education, where we have looked to particularly on the using looking at accessing technology. And there again, as we move into a COVID period where virtual education is now much more universal, but our sense is that it's a way of bringing more consistent delivery of quality education to a lot of families. And so we have partnered with some global organizations that have been leaders in technology, using technology to enhance the educational experience, to bring them into Nigeria, both to do everything from setting up entire school systems to just supplementing the delivery of certain aspects of the educational process in the country. So those are two areas that we've been quite active in, and feel as though we've been able to have an impact. And then we've been active in more traditional areas in terms of just more traditional infrastructure, and everything from roads and bridges that in ways that just act as economic multipliers, and in that respect, hopefully enhance the level of productivity and the level of economic growth in a way that benefits people more broadly. We believe what we bring is a global network. What we bring is capital, and what we bring is an ability to cut through red tape. As a reasonably well respected institution within Nigeria, you are almost always best off when you collaborate with other organizations and institutions, as opposed to trying to do things solely on your own. And by that meaning, when you collaborate across government, across civil society, because there's just so much knowledge and expertise in civil society to leverage, and then across the corporate sector, because there are lots of really well-intended corporate leaders who want to figure out how to have an impact, and where working with their expertise, with their energy, with some of their capital alongside our capital, where you can make much more of a difference than if we just went in and tried to build something ourselves. So I think if there's a takeaway for us in terms of way of increasing the probability of success, reducing the probability of failure, increasing the likelihood of impact, it's collaboration, and collaboration not just in one avenue or one lane, but trying to collaborate across different lanes, from civil society to policy to the private sector.